Welcome to the first episode of a new series where I take a deep dive into the various characters of my ongoing comic Robosphere. As often mentioned on my Instagram and other social media accounts, many of the characters in Robosphere originally started life in previous work, be it installations, costume designs, or as cartoons. In this series, I'll be going over the history of these characters leading up to the present day. If you've known my work for a while, you'll know that between 2013 and 2016, I explored costume design and installation art inspired by the Bauhaus school and the performances of the Dadaists and Futurists. All of these groups use costume and the human form itself as part of their stage shows and performances, where the presence of a performer was seen more as a living doll, machine, or puppet than as an individual actor or a human being. Thus, the mechanical movement of the body, or the physical shape of its form and gesture, was more crucial than any dialogue or acting. This was certainly true in the case of the Bauhaus specifically. While the first artistic context that really sparked my imagination was Dada, the Bauhaus school and its theatrical work was what really set my imagination ablaze. My responses culminated in staged or gestural Bauhaus dances inspired by the work of artists such as Oskar with minimal costuming and masks or props. This painting, which predates the Bauhaus dances, features a figure which was then known as Bauhaus Man and was a character created for use in paintings and sketches at this time. It appears throughout my Bauhaus work in 2014, and its most significant feature was its angular head, which was initially created as a response to Cubism and what was then called Primitivism. The white and red outfit was worn initially, but was not taken past the painting and concept stage. It's from the first of my Bauhaus dances, the stick dance, that the earliest references to Oskar began to appear. The stick dance used a large white mask, a black skin suit, and white bands in some iterations. The mask was a large angular shape taken directly from the Bauhaus Man figure in my paintings, modified slightly, and the rest of the costume was stripped away to better capture the skin suits worn in the gestural Bauhaus dances of Oskar. Following this, the Bauhaus Man figure continued to be used in further concepts and sketches. The mask was modified for usage in the ball dance, the third and final of my Bauhaus dances, and the Bauhaus Man character appeared in a series of short comics entitled Bauhaus Man and the Dadas, which ran until the end of the following year. These strips were never fully released or compiled, but were used on things like birthday cards for friends. In Bauhaus Man and the Dadas, the overarching theme was that the Bauhaus Man character ran a gallery with his Dada staff, who were themselves based on my previous Dada costumes, and the humour of the comics came from the characters' different approaches, with the logical, tactful reasoning of the Bauhaus Man contrasting with the chaotic and unorthodox approach favoured by his Dada staff. This might sound familiar to people that know Robosphere today. For a few years the characters were dropped until 2020 when some new strips were produced while I considered what to do next with my characters. I'd gotten the urge to draw longer comic stories again, but lacked a central theme. The following year, in 2021, I began to look at the character in different environments, such as real-world locations in cafes, and Robosphere began development. As the Robosphere concept started to take shape, Bauhaus Man became less tetchy and formal, and he was given his own name, Oskar, after Schlemmer. His previous personality traits were replaced with a world weariness and flamboyance which better suited a longer-form comic project, and while he kept his gallery and Dada team, they would become more pronounced characters in their own right as opposed to identical, uniformed humanoids. His head shape remained similar, but his whole outfit and palette were modified to fit the world of this new project. He was one of 6 characters initially outlined to feature in Robosphere, before this was halved to 3 when Volume 1 was being developed, alongside Russell and Casimir. Then, later that year, Volume 1 of Robosphere was released. Since then, Oskar has gone through one of his most consistent eras, and from early Robosphere promotional artwork to the present day, his look and attitude have remained largely the same. While my earliest experiments to animate Bauhaus Man in 2014 took the form of performances, now, over 10 years later, Oskar was finally animated in 2D in full colour for the first time. In Robosphere Volume 3, yet to be released at the time of recording, Oskar's look comes full circle as he wears the formal outfit worn as Bauhaus Man back in 2014 at the opening night of his new gallery show. I hope you enjoyed this first look into the development of the characters seen in Robosphere. Other characters, such as Casimir and the Dadas, share a similarly detailed history, and they will be covered in future episodes. If you have any questions about Oskar or want to ask questions about any of the other characters in Robosphere, this is the place to do it. Leave a comment and I'll make sure that I respond. Stay tuned for more animations and vlogs about my current work. Coming soon.